and welcome to a very little video, I hope, about a question I got. A very interesting question when I did the videos about Chiron. Someone asked me, but that looks a bit like Saturn. Is there any difference between Saturn and Chiron? And if there is, what is exactly the difference? It's a very good question because there is a huge difference between the two, between Saturn and between Chiron. Now, neither of those are very romantic planets. So, what I mean to say is, if you have a Saturn on your Sun or a Chiron on your Venus, it really shows a piece of your horoscope that is quite tough. And so the similarity between Saturn and Chiron that people recognize is probably the feeling blocked and feeling restricted because of Chiron, the wound, and because of Saturn, that heavy planet that is associated with restrictions and with borders. But that's the only thing they have in common, because Chiron goes way deeper, is way heavier than Saturn is. Chiron is about wounds that we don't even know where they come from. So the search for, like if you have a strong Saturn in your horoscope, like a Sun conjunct Saturn, it can have to do with feeling restricted to show who you really are. But it is very easy with Saturn, or easier to look at where that comes from. Maybe it comes from the past, when you were a younger child, the connection with your dad you had, for instance, and the feeling that you were never good enough. But with Chiron, it goes way deeper than that. And often people, and that is because the search for where does it come from and understanding it takes a little bit more time. There is a reason why the return of Chiron is once every 50 years instead of Saturn is once every 30 years. So another thing that is the main difference, I think, or shows the main difference, is that Saturn is a lot about, let's say, it's the internal critic in yourself. Let's say you've done something and it wasn't the best thing you did and you feel guilty. So guilty is a typical Saturn characteristic, you could say. And actually, when you feel guilty of doing something that you didn't like about yourself, then there is opportunity to say to yourself, look, I feel so guilty that I did that. It's not going to happen anymore. I really, and it's forming you, it's structuring yourself, and next time you won't do that anymore. That's really Saturn-like. But with Chiron, it goes beyond guilt. It has to do with shame, for instance. So the feeling of shame is way deeper than the feeling of guilt. Why is there shame for a certain something? Chiron is way more difficult to pinpoint, but that feeling is also very, very deep. Another thing that is different is that Saturn, as I said, it's easy to pinpoint, oh, my father did this in my life, or my mother was so restricting me and she was so cold that I have now a Moon-Saturn conjunction. All these things are easy to point the finger, is very easy with Saturn. But of course, at a certain time, people with as heavy Saturns will understand that it's no use to point it. It's something that they have to search for in themselves. Whether it is the sun, they have to find a way to shine. Whether it is the moon, they have to find a way to nurture themselves. But with Chiron, it's almost impossible to pinpoint. And it's in a different direction. Actually, with Chiron, as I explained in the videos, you need other people. You need other people because through those other people, you kind of learn what Chiron is, for instance, with Venus. through other people, through valuing other people, and therefore you value yourself. So it's more of an interaction with Chiron, I think. And with Saturn, it is more, it's not that tough, it's not that heavy. That's what I wanted to stress. And also with Saturn, actually with Chiron, the feelings go way deeper, and the certainly when a person is very young and doesn't understand this, the being angry about it and being goes way deeper than with Saturn. With Saturn, it can turn, if it's very unconscious, it can turn into envying. And again, with the Sun conjunct Saturn, you if you don't understand why it is there, you can envy other people who are very much together and who are very much comfortable with their own identity. And Saturn can make you feel envying those people. But with Chiron, it can be very almost like being so angry because something has happened to you, and there is almost no reason for it. And with no reason, I mean that life has been unfair. That is more the Chiron thing. So someone can be a very good person, and someone can be, knowing very much the difference between good and bad, and having boundaries and all of that, and still encounter so much pain in their lives. So it's like almost it's more on a higher level of why is, you could say, if you are religious, you could say, why is God punishing me that much? Something like that. So it goes way more beyond the feeling of I envy someone else because they have it. So it goes, what I'm trying to say is that it goes way deeper, Chiron, and the approach is different as well, because with Chiron the approach is more working with others, being your own teacher, and therefore exploring and growing. But with Saturn, it's just one solution. It's just hard work. It's just Sun conjunct Saturn is just showing you need to work double hard to find your identity. And so that's just a tiny little thing. And of course, with the Sun conjunct Chiron, you could say they also have to work hard finding their own identity, but they do it in another way. They do it, as I said, with the interaction of other people. So I hope this is clear now, and I'm going to do within a couple of weeks, I don't know when, but I hope I'm going to start this year still to do a series about Saturn, so to show the difference between the two, and not only as I did with Chiron with the personal planets. I will do that with the personal planets, but especially with also like a square or an opposition, a transit. So it will be a bit broader than I did with the Chiron planets. Hope this was a bit more clear for you, and see you soon. Bye bye.